Welcome back, YouTube. Today I'm going to show you how I changed this pop-up camper trailer from looking like this to this. In my last video, I determined that the tires and wheels that I bought for the trailer would fit on it, but you couldn't get them on and off unless you lowered the axle. So I began this process by marking the tire at the bottom of the frame rail on both sides. I wanted to make sure that I knew how far down I was going to separate the axle from the frame rail. I was aiming for 3 inches. Then I used a bottle jack at the back of the trailer to raise the frame of the trailer up about 3 inches. I had to remove the leaf spring shackle bolts in the back so that as I jacked the frame up, the axle stayed resting on the jack stands. Next, with the frame rail lifted 3 more inches, it was time to take the tire off. I wanted to see if that tire could slip out between that adapter and that frame rail. And as you can see, it did successfully slip out between them. So I had it in my mind, because of the welder and the tubing that I had, that I was going to cut the frame rail and raise it up 3 inches on each side. And you can see in this picture, I had already cleaned the frame rail off and was ready to start welding and cutting. Now the question became, could I just do it on the back part of the springs effectively, or would I have to lower the whole spring? So as you can see here, with the frame set at the correct height, the back of the spring would require a substantial shackle length to be able to set the frame at that height. Also, pivoting the axle that way moved the axle forward on rotation, and it wasn't in the correct location. So extended shackles weren't the total answer, but they could be a partial answer. I had already bought some new front spring hangers. I clamped them on to the existing spring hangers in the front just to see how everything would fit together, and it looked like it was going to be a really good fit. Working on these spring mounts would be far easier with the frame upside down. You can see in this view where I welded a new spring mount to the old spring mount, and to reinforce it, I welded a piece of 2x3 box tubing to the spring mount, the cross member, and the cross member in front of it. I did this for both springs. Give you the view on both sides, in the front and the back as well. With the front mounts completed and welded and cooling off, it was time to work on the spring shackles on the back. These are the old shackles, and I'm going to replace them with extended shackles. The difference in length bolt to bolt in the new shackles and the old shackles is about 4 inches. The shackles would work. They were thick enough, they were long enough, the bolt holes were in good locations, but there was one more problem that had to be addressed. The original bolt holes on mine are 9/16. The shackle bolt holes are a 1/2 inch. So I had to enlarge the holes in the new shackles for my old bolts, because the springs are also 9/16. So if I put the 1/2 inch bolts in the 9/16 springs, there would be play there and they would rattle around. So I had to go ahead and enlarge the holes in the new shackles to 9/16. There's a couple of ways to enlarge these holes. One is to use a Dremel tool and enlarge them with a little bit. You can also use a 9/16 drill bit with a 1/2 inch drill motor to enlarge the holes as well. But a 1/2 inch drill motor is strong, and you better have enough strength to hang on to it when it grabs. Another challenge I came up with is the top of the old shackles had an angle cut on each side. This helped them pivot. Well, the new shackles are flat across the top. I'm gonna have to take a cutting wheel and cut an angle on the tops of all the shackles. After I got all the holes enlarged and all the shackles cut, then it was time to install everything and see if these tires would fit on this time. And it looks like we have success. The tires will actually be able to go on without any special changes to the frame of the trailer. Wanted to show you the underneath view of the shackles in the back and the spring hangers in the front. And there's another view of the spring hangers in the front and the extended shackles in the back. So now that we know that the new tires and wheels are going to fit without cutting the frame, it's time to clean this frame up and get it painted so that we can put some decking on it and get this pop-up camper rebuilt. Before I ended today's video, I wanted to give a shout out to a few of my viewers. Dean the Camper, he's always commenting on my stuff and he's always throwing out ideas, and he's just a hoot to talk to if you get the chance to communicate with the guy. The other would be Missouri Traveler. MT is always throwing out ideas. He and I are like, we think alike. It's really cool to hear his ideas and how they align with my ideas. And the last one I wanted to throw a shout out to would be Airborne Mike. Mike's always throwing out ideas as well and challenges me on some of the ideas that I have. Constructive criticism is always appreciated, and these guys, even though they may not think so, they cause me to think and challenge me to be better on my videos and on what I'm doing with the campers. Thank you to all you guys. Thank you to all you viewers watching out there. And there's more to come.